Hey Data Geeks, welcome to Data Structure, your go-to channel for all things data. Today's video is all about one of the most vital steps in data analysis, data cleaning. As a data analyst, you are expected to uncover actionable insights, craft stunning dashboards, and present your findings flawlessly. But none of that is possible without clean, usable data. We often overlook how crucial data cleaning is, but it's truly the backbone of any data-driven project. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the step-by-step process of transforming raw, messy data into pristine analysis-ready data. I've included all the links in the description so you can follow along. Together, we'll make data cleaning a breeze. Stick around until the end and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So, let's get started. Now, before I take you to the data cleaning process, the let's look at how the data set actually looks like and how we are going to download the data set from the web. So essentially our data set is not available with us at this moment and we have to download the data set from the website itself and export it directly to our Excel sheet. So to do that, I will take you to the online site which is ESPN Crick Info, which contains all the data of our players, the span, the matches. Plus, when we look at the data, we see that there are some essentially null values which are present, and there are also values which contains plus and star signs which are essentially bad data, and we have to do some data cleaning, apply the data cleaning techniques to get it. So what we will do is click on the link, and as soon as we do that, it is copied. Next we will go to our Excel sheet, click on data and click from web. As soon as you do that, it opens a window, and in that window it asks for the URL. Once you paste the copied URL, you can click on OK, and the Excel will search the URL and prepare it for download. It essentially takes a little while to prepare the data, but once it's done, it will show you some items for preview. So you can see that Excel is preparing the preview table, and we will click on table 1, and you can see that there are all the data present from the website. So all we have to do is give it a check, a preliminary check, and see whether the data is okay or not. And let's click on load the data, and it will load the data set. So it will take some time to load the data set, and it will show the preview on the right hand side. It is loading the data. It will take a few seconds. So here we have the data set present with us. So it contains the player name, the span, the matches, etc., etc., all the details that were available in the website. So what I want to do is change the first column which contains the player, the span, the mat into the first column, and remove the column 1, column 2, column 3 because it is not required for us. So once it is done, we see that we have a data which we will proceed to for the data cleaning process. Now I also want to add some things here, and once I've done a preliminary check, I'll move on to the next step. So from preliminary check, everything seems fine. Let's see the mat, which is the matches played, the ins, which is the innings batted, NO stands for not out, runs, highest inning scores, etc., etc. So it is not clear from the column names what it stands for. So we will do some data cleaning techniques and change the column names also. So SR stands for strike rate, 100 scores, 50 score, duck score. So it contains everything. So okay, so the data looks good, and we have imported the data quite easily. So yes, we have some dashes which is essentially the null values which we will transform, and we have to transform these stars also, and we will rename the columns. Okay. Okay, so let's move on with our data analysis. So the first things that we will do is create some duplicate values. So there are no duplicate values in this current sheet, but for the sake of the video, I will add some duplicates. So let's add our god of cricket, Sachin Tendulkar, then Rahul Dravid. Let's add another column of the same column, so it will give a duplicate value when we will do our data analysis. So let's copy and paste Rahul Dravid, and one more. Let's see which. Okay, so we have Seva. So let's do and copy another data of Seva. Okay, so we have made three duplicate values also, and we will see how we can tackle duplicate values in data set. So once it's done, let's move on. And so the first thing that I will do is change this dash into null values. So essentially when I do that, when I import the sheet into Python, it will display as null values. So I will delete this dash and keep it null. I will also delete the zeros and keep it also null. You can do it directly from the Python also, but since I am displaying the basic data cleaning methods, so I will do some pre-processing before I import this file into Jupyter. So okay, I think all the nulls and zeros have been taken care of in our Excel sheet. Let's see, let's give it a okay. So we have done it. Now let's save this file as a CSV format. So saving the file is pretty easy. Go to save as, browse where you want to save the data set. I want it to save here, and I'll rename it as cricket dataset, and I will save type as CSV, CSV comma delimited. Okay, think, yeah, done, save. Okay. Okay, so to save this active file, okay, I have selected save the file as CSV. Now let's move on and open our Jupyter notebook and proceed with our data cleaning technique. So open a Jupyter notebook, and I'm opening the Jupyter notebook where I have saved the CSV file, because this way I won't have to give the whole address of the data set once I have opened the Jupyter notebook. Or else if you open the Jupyter notebook somewhere else, you would have to give the entire address of the data set when you are importing the data. So let's click on new, and first thing that I will do is import some libraries. Let's import pandas as PD. Then I will import numpy just in case, numpy as np, and run it. So I have imported the necessary libraries. Let's head on and import the dataset. So we will import the dataset into df and pd.read underscore csv, and then give the name of the file. So our file name is cricket dataset underscore csv, cricket dataset underscore csv. Okay, so I just type the name myself, cricket data underscore dataset dot csv. Done. Let's see the head, df dot head 10. So I want to see the first 10 rows of the dataset. Okay, so I think the dataset has been imported correctly, and we can see there that there are NaN values in some of the columns, which we will take care of. So we have the player as our first column, then span as the second column. So one thing that you notice that players have name as well as country with them, so we will take care of that too. Then we have span, which we will again look into. Now here are some of the steps that we will take care of. I have already made a list of steps for the data cleaning, which will be rename multiple columns, check for null values, drop duplicates, etc. and etc. So now for the first step that we want to conduct is rename multiple columns. As you can see, HS, MAT, AVE, these are not very good practice to use such kind of column names. We want some column names that we can easily understand. So let's see how we can do that. And also we see that the NaN values or null values are here. And as you can see, the data set that we have imported looks good. We just need to apply some data cleaning techniques to make it usable for our data analysis. So let's move on with our next step and see how we rename the multiple columns. So let's start, add some lines, and we will first thing that we will do is rename multiple columns. Let's just copy the step that we are going to conduct right now and rename multiple columns. So basically we want to rename some of the columns which and make it easily understandable. So we will use df.rename and rename. What we want to do is the columns and rename it as the first column that we want to rename is the mat. So basically it means matches played, so we will change mat to matches. So since we are renaming multiple columns, so we will have to name the multiple columns that we want to rename. The second column that we are renaming is, let's see, okay, the second column that we are renaming is the INNS, which essentially means innings played. So then we will change the NO to not outs. So let's go one by one. So I have left the innings, which is itself explanatory. So let's move out to NOs, which I want to be renamed as not outs. Then I want to rename HS, which is highest score. Is it? Yeah, highest inning score. So okay, I will rename it as rename HS and as highest score. Okay, let's move on to AVE. I want AVE to be displayed as average. Average. Uh, Next that we want to change is the BF. BF stands for balls faced. Let's change BF to balls faced. And the last is SR, which stands for strike rate. Okay, so the command is a little longer. We will take it to the next line. And although we have done the rename column, but we have to change the new column names in the df itself. So we will do df equal to df dot rename. So is what it essentially does is renames the column and saves it back to df. Let's check out df dot head, the first 10 rows. So as you can see, the column names are changed. So we have named the columns in such a way that we can easily understand. So it is a good practice to change the column names to easily understandable names, because it helps to remember some essential data points. Okay, so once that is done, we have renamed the columns. Let's see what our next step is. So for the next step, we will check for null values and conduct our null value treatment. So you are familiar that we have some null values in our data sets, and it's time to take care of those null values. So first of all, let's see how many null values that we have. So to do that, we will use the df dot is null dot sum. So this will essentially tell us which column has how many null values. So as you can see, ball phased and strike rate have 3 null values in them. So what you can do is either delete those null values because they are very less, or you can impute the null values with something. So let's do any also to see if there are any other null values present. So apart from ball phased and strike rate, there are no null values present in our data set. So let's see how we can treat our null values. So for this data cleaning technique, I will impute the null values with 0, because we don't know why the values are kept null. It might be that the data collection method is at fault, or it might be something else, maybe the reason. But whatever the reason, we have decided that we will change the null values to 0. So df dot ball phase dot is na equal to 1. So 1 stands for true when the ball phased is null. So we want to see which players are having null values. So there are 3 players which are having null values, and we will do the same thing with the strike rate also. Let's copy it and change to strike rate underscore rate. Okay, the same 3 players are having null values as strike rate also. So let's see what we can do to impute these null values and change it to 0. So basically we will use the fill na function, and to do that we will write the command as df dot balls underscore phased dot is na dot fill na 0. So what we will do is look into the columns of ball phased and fill all the null values with 0, and we will save the function in df dot balls phased. So it will fill the 0 and save it as well, making it permanent. So we have taken care of null values in ball phase column, and we will do the same thing with the strike rate also. So first let's check whether the NA or the null values have been treated in the ball phased column or not. So what we will do, we will just df dot player equal to add weeks. So we see that ball phased has been replaced. So the NaN has been replaced with 0. Let's do that with the other 2 players also. Okay, so Walcott has also been changed, and the last is Jackson. Let's copy and paste the player name. Okay, so we have successfully treated our null values in the balls phased column. So let's move on to the strike rate column. It's a similar command, and we just have to change the ball phase to strike rate and fill NA. So let's enter. Let's give it a check whether the null values have been taken care of. Yes, the strike rate has been changed to 0.0. It's in the float format, so it is showing 0.0, which is okay for us. Let's change the other two players and check. Yes, it's done for Edwigs also. And let's give it a last check for the remaining player of Walcott. Let's copy this and paste in. Okay, so we have successfully taken care of the null values in both the columns, and give it a final check with the df.head. So you can see we have uh, number 9 for ed weeks, balls faced, and strike rate has been converted to 0. Let's move on to our next step, which is drop the duplicates. As you remember, we added 3 duplicates deliberately just to show you how to drop the duplicates. So let's add some lines and write our code. So what we will do is find out all the 3 duplicates that we have and drop them. So to do that, we will df.duplicated and enter. So basically it's a large data set. It will not show in such a manner. Let's sum. So there are 3 duplicates. Let's pinpoint the 3 duplicates and find out which player have duplicate values. So df. So we have already done that. Let's copy this, and I will make some change. Instead of is NA, we will write duplicated. So essentially what this command means is we want to see all the player names which has been duplicated, and one stands for true. So we see that Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid and Sehwag, for these 3 players we have duplicate values. And what I will do next is I'll show you all the duplicates value too, so you can see how many total values of the same players are present. So let's go ahead. Df dot players and dot is in Sachin Tendulkar, comma Rahul Dravid, comma and Virendra Sehwag. So what I am doing is I am providing all the 3 players which have duplicate values, and extracting all the information with these player name. So okay, so we have an error. So let's see what the error is in takes 2 positional argument is in. Oh, okay, so I forgot to do this. Let's add another and another closing bracket. I think it should run. Let's enter. Yes, so as you can see there are 6 total duplicate values. For Sachin Tendulkar, we have 2 values. For Rahul Dravid, we have 2 values. And for Sehwag, we have 2 values, which we added deliberately. And now we will delete these duplicate values and move on with our data cleaning. So to delete the duplicate values, we will uh, use the drop function, df.drop duplicates, and save it into df. So basically what we will it will do is drop the duplicates and save it in df. Let's see if the duplicates have been dropped. So as you can see, the duplicate entries have been dropped. Okay, so let's move on and look at our next step. So for our next step, we will split the country from the player name. Okay, so as you know, we have the player name and the country in a single column. We want it in separate columns, so it will be easier for us for our data analysis and also will be easier for to understand. But before we do that, I want to take care of the next step before I dive into the country and player name, because it will be easier and I can explain it in a simple manner for this step. So basically what we will do is split career span into start and end date and find career length. So as you can see, we have the career end and beginning date is in a single column. What we want to do is separate it into individual columns. To do that, we will use the string split function. So df.span.string str.split, and we will provide a pattern. So the pattern is basically the dash between the two dates, and Python will recognize that dash and split it on the basis. As you can see, the dates have been split into beginning and the end of the span. And now what we have to do is add new columns and save the data into separately, and finally drop the span column. So let's see how we can do that. So we will copy the function that we wrote earlier and use the dot str and use 0. So basically 0 means the once it is split, the first one is 0 and the second one is 1. So once you select 0, it selects only the first dates, and now we will save it in a new column that we are creating, which will be rookie year. So it will be the starting of the career, and we have denoted it as rookie year, and we will save the starting date into the rookie year. So it is done and we will do the same for the final year also, and just we will change the str into 1 because we want the later year and final year. Okay, so we have done that, and now let's check whether it is done in our data set also. df.head, and we see that two new columns, rookie year and final year, have been added. Here you can see the rookie year and the starting year of the final retirement year has been provided separately. And once it is done, we don't have necessary requirement for the span column. Let's just df.drop and drop the span column. And since we are dropping, we will use axis equals to 1 because we are dropping an entire column. If we were to drop any rows, we will mention 0. So let's give a comma and enter. So as you can see, the span column has been dropped, but we have to save it in df also so that it does not return to its previous position. So what we will do is df equals to df.drop and run it. So let's check whether it's been done or not. df.head, and you can see that the span column has been removed. Okay, so once we have done this, let's move on to our previous step that we skipped. So let's split the country from the player name. I'll add couple of lines here, and basically we are going to do the same thing, and let's just copy this and paste it. So we do not need span, we need the player, and we have to provide a different pattern which will be a bracket, single bracket. So what it will do is look into it and separate based on the bracket we provide as pattern. So you can see we have separated. Now we will create a different column, a new column, and we will store the country. Let's go ahead and create country, and we will copy the previous command dot str, and we will give 0 1. So we only grabbing the country here. So without df dot country, you can see that output is what the output is. And now let's save this in a new column named country. So we have done that. Let's check out df dot country. So still we have some formatting to do because we only want the country, but it is followed by the closing bracket also. So let's see how we can do that. So we will again perform a string split based on a different pattern this time, and then save it again into the country column. So I'll just copy paste df dot country equal to dot split pattern equal to, and provide the closing bracket pattern. So you can see we have separated the country from the closing bracket, and we will select the string 0. And once you do that, we can see that only the country names are coming. So let's save all this information in df dot country. Okay, so I think we are done. Let's check out our df dot head and see what the output is. As you can see, we have added a new column named country only containing the country name, but the player column is still having the country name, so we will take care of that too. What we will do is again perform a string split and save the string as 0. Okay, so I think it is done. Let's hit. So before I do that, let's see how the output will look like. Okay, so output is looking correct. Now let's run this and let's finally check the df dot head. So we have successfully separated the player names from the country and created a different column named country. And let's move on with our next data analysis. So for our next analysis or the data cleaning technique, we will so I forgot to mention some more, but there are definitely some more data cleaning. Like we need to remove the stars and the plus signs from some of the values that we have. So let's take a look how we can do that. So the first thing that we will do, some more data cleaning. So in this step, we will remove the stars and the plus signs from the values. So to do that, we will use the string split. Basically, the highest score and the balls faced are still in the string format. We will just have to split and select the first one, select only the number and save it in the highest score column itself. So we have already done that. Let's just copy and paste it, and we just have to change the pattern to star. First of all, let's change the name of the column as highest score, and change the pattern to star. This way it will remove the stars from all the numbers, and then select the string 0, and finally save it to df dot highest score. So we have done it. Let's check out with df dot head. Okay, so I think all of this has changed. Let's see. Okay, so we had AC Vogues as 269 star, but it is not. So basically, star meant that the player was not out, but we don't need that for our data analysis. So we will remove. Similarly, we will also have to remove the balls faced, the plus signs that we have in the balls faced column. To do that, we will follow a similar. So we will copy paste, remove the highest score and write balls faced. Next we will do is change the pattern to a plus sign and grab the string 0. Okay, so it is done. Let's check df dot head, and the output is okay. So we have removed all the plus signs from the numbers, and the data is looking more organized and clean. Okay, so once we have done that, we will check for data types and see whether we have to do any kind of data cleaning regarding the data types. So we will write df.dtypes and run. Okay, so the player is in object format, it's looking okay. The average is in float. So we have to do some kind of changes to some of these, and let's see, the average is float, balls faced is object, strike rate is float, rookie year and final year is object format. So basically we will change the highest score to integer, ball face to integer, strike rate to integer, rookie year and final year to integer, and for our data cleaning. So this will be our next step, and let's see how we can change the data types. So basically we can do the change in data types in a couple of ways. First I will show you how to do it one by one. So df dot highest underscore score as types integer. This will change the data type to int 32, and we will save df dot highest score to make it permanent. Okay, so it is done. Let's check df dot d types. So the, as you can see, the highest scores have been changed to int 32. Now let's see if we can change the rookie year and final year together into integer data types. Let's see how we can do that. So what we will do is df dot as types and provide both of the values rookie year and final year as int rookie underscore year semicolon colon int comma final year colon int. So we have changed the two of the, so we have an error. Data frame object has no attribute as types. Okay, I'm sorry, as type. So it is changed. Let's save this into df to make it permanent, and let's check the data types again. So as you can see, the rookie year and the final year data type have been changed to integer 32 from object data type. So one more data type conversion is remaining. So I want to change the balls phased to object data type. So df dot balls phased equals to df. We have written this. Let's just copy paste df dot as types balls phased dot as type int. Okay, so we have an error. Let's check out what the error is. Cannot convert float NaN to integer. I think there are some missing values still present in the column. So we have to take care of that before we can convert it into an integer data type. So let's check out what the null values are. It's actually showing null values present in balls phased column, and we have already written a statement to check the null values. So let's check out which of the players have null values. Okay, so it is the, so we already changed the ball phase to 0, but for some reason it is still showing NN. So I think we have to carry out the same step again. We have done that. Let's just copy paste it, and okay, so we have df dot balls phase dot with fill na. Okay, so we will copy paste this command and run it. So I think it is done. Let's check out again. Copy and paste. So we have no null values in the ball phase column. Next. So there are no null values remaining. Now we can move ahead with our data type conversion. Let's just copy this and paste it, and it is done. Let's check out df.dtypes. Okay, so balls phased have been converted to integer from object, and all our data types are in order, so we can move ahead. So next step will be career length. So I want to add another column where I want to show the total years that a player has played for. So which is nothing but the final year minus the rookie year. Let's see how we can do that. Df of career length. This is the newly created column, which is equal to df of final year minus df of rookie year. So it is basically a simple command. Let's check out our df dot head. So as you can see, the career length column has already been added, and it contains the total career length of each player. So it seems okay. 1928 to 1948, 20 years for Bradman. Brook 2 years, 2022 to 2024. So we have successfully added a career length, and as a next step we will look into some of the questions that we have. So let's copy paste the questions one by one. So to find the career length, we will just have to find the average, which will be mean, and that's it. Career length. So the average career length is 13 years. So these are the rest of the questions that we will be answering. Second one is average batting strike rate who played over 10 years. So basically we have to do a group by of all the players who have played over 10 years and find their average batting strike. So to do a group by, we will use df dot strike rate. Sorry, it won't be batting, it will be strike rate. Okay, so first we have to do group by career length. So we have to find out all those players who have played more than 10 years, and then a group do a an average of strike rate. So df dot strike rate. So no, this will be done as strike rate, strike rate, and okay, so greater is not supported. Less than int, so I have an error. So strike rate is not defined. So let's put it in inverted comma. Okay, so there was a mistake from my end, and so we will do a mean dot mean. So before I show you the mean, let's check out what the output should be. So these are all the players who have career length more than 10 years, and their respective strike rates are given. So now we want the average, so we will just use a dot mean, and the average strike rate is 47.94 of all those players who have career length more than 10 years. So let's move on to the next question. Number of players before 1970. So I want to find out the number of players who have started their career before 1970. So df of rookie year is greater than 1970. Rookie year greater than less than 1970. And if we do a sum, no, it sum won't work. So we will do a count. So what we want is the count of all the number of players who have started their career before 1970. So instead of sum, we will just use dot count. Okay, so there are 23 players who have started their career before 1970. Okay, so here we have a definite answer. We just use the player column also, and it gave us. So let's look at our last question, max highest inning score by country. And to do that, we will use df group by country and highest score and dot max. So these are all the countries that have maximum highest scores. So it is providing the top 14 countries with the highest score. So there is one more thing that we will want to include as the average by country of hundreds, fifties and ducks. So we will use the same group by that we used earlier, and instead of highest score we will give the values as hundreds. Because we are giving multiple values, we will use another bracket and give the criteria separated by columns 100, 50 and 0, and we will use the mean. So we have Australia hundreds average 20, 50s average 28 and zeros 8. Similarly for India we have 100 average 29, 50s 47 and zeros 12. So this way we have completed our data cleaning and also answered some of the questions. I hope that you like the video, and if you have any questions please mention in the comment, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.